coming out, like didn't get tight. I was like, man, this is super easy. And then it broke. We're out here working on Old Blue again. Last week I did pads and rotors, or pad and rotor on the driver's side. I'd already done pads and rotors on the passenger side. I want to replace the caliper, and I drove up and down the road. I could smell the pads, and it was smoking pretty bad. Like, I thought it was on fire. It was smoking so bad. So caliper is locked up or leaking or doing something. So we already changed the caliper on the passenger side, so now we're gonna move the caliper on the driver's side. So apparently when I worked at Advance, we sold calipers for this body style truck. Basically any E150, F150, whatever. Once they get to about 200,000 miles, you might as well just go ahead and change the calipers. But the reason they eat calipers is not the caliper. It's not the caliper. It is the problem apparently on these Fords is the hoses. This was like 47 bucks. So I didn't run into an issue. I ordered the driver's side and they sent me the passenger side to take it back and exchange it. No big deal. I mean, nothing. Just pay attention to these brackets. But what happens apparently, from what I've gathered online and talking to people in person that do these in a couple of shops, is what happens is these hoses, because brake fluid is a little bit corrosive, these hoses inside, they're rubber, so they just break down. And once they break down, the pieces of them get into the caliper and it gunks it up or eats it up. Or I've also heard people say that if a piece of this comes loose, it will restrict in here how much fluid can get to the caliper, so the caliper basically burns itself up because it either has little to no fluid, or it just can't get enough pressure and it just kind of like, and it just jams up. But my suggestion to you is, if you've got a stuck caliper on one of these F150s or E150s, whatever it is, the van, replace the hose while you're in there, because you're going to have to unhook this to get the caliper off. Then you're going to have to bleed it, so might as well go ahead and do this while you're at it. You're going to unhook this one from the caliper, so you might as well go in and unhook that from the hard line. Just get it all done while you're in there. So what I'm going to show you how to do, I've already showed you how to do a caliper on the front. I've already showed you how to do the brakes and rotors. So next up is this hose. So I'm gonna get in there today, and while I've got, like I said, I'm gonna do the caliper, and then I'll do the hose, and I'll show you how to bleed everything too. Like I said, my suggestion is, if you're gonna do the caliper, go ahead and do the hose. The extra bit of insurance, especially if you're gonna keep the truck for a while. So let me get everything up in the air. And of course, it's starting to rain. Let me give it about 10-15 minutes, see if it's gonna still rain some, and then we'll go from there. So what I've done, as you can see, I've got everything up. Jack stand, jack, got the wheel off. You're replacing this line. As you can see, it's got other things attached to it. You've got things attached here to the bracket, here and here, and like here and here. And I've soaked everything in Blaster. So the first thing I'm going to do is get everything broke loose. You got a 14 here. These appear to be 10s. I'll get those broke loose. And you'll need a line wrench. It looks like it's like a 14 or a 13. Probably something American, of course. I mean, it is a Ford. So it's a 13. So, like I said, I've soaked everything in penetrant. And I'm going to get them broke loose while everything is still attached. That way nothing tries to move. Then I'll get these broke loose, get these off of it, everything. That way once it's ready to come loose, I've got the other one laid out, ready to go. So I'll get everything broke loose and we'll go from there. I'm going to cut in a little bit of advice here. Put a drain pan down. I didn't think this much brake fluid would come out of it, but it is a mess. So put a drain pan down. So I got the line off. Like I said, you had 2 bolts there, and you got a 14mm banjo bolt. Please be careful, because as I was taking this loose, I sprayed it with PB Blaster. It was just coming out, like didn't get tight. I was like, man, this is super easy. And then it broke. So now I'm gonna have to replace this hard line, see if I can find, if you can buy it from Ford, if I can get it out of a junkyard, whatever I gotta do. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this line, the rest of it replaced, and then whenever I get back from Seattle, I'll fix the rest of it. I'm gonna start with the brackets, because this has to go on a certain way here, And once you get the brackets lined up, that should tell you how this lines up. So I've got that one started. I'm gonna get this one started. I'll get these clipped in and then get this on and we'll be done. Pay attention to these bolts are different. The one up here, this is the one down here on like your control arm. It's flat on the end. The other one is pointed more like a screw. So they are different, and I'm sure they will only go in one place. Also pay attention right here. Don't pinch that line underneath there. So make sure, absolutely make sure when you do this, you get both those washers in there. This has like a cut off corner on it that goes up against that. So now we'll get this tightened down. These another little bite. Go easy on these because they are tins and they're like brittle, so they will break. Make sure you snap. You've got one snap here, one snap there, and one snap here. You've also got this line that goes there. Make sure you get all those. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 things you have to reattach that line. So everything's snug down. Once I get that other hard line replaced, I'll make a video about how to bleed this, but be careful with that. And like I said, drain pan. So Steve got that hard line fixed, which is really good because we got lucky because it only goes from here to there, and it's actually a Motorcraft one. It was like 30 bucks. We got really lucky. So now that we've got that bolted in, I've got my air bleeder here. Steve's gonna get in the truck, pump the pedal a few times for me. We should start getting fluid.
I got a pedal right now.
Okay. Let off of it, push it down. I'm getting fluid. All right, let off of it. Pump it again. Let off of it. Push it again real slow. Jack that up. Got the wheel off. Bled it. Power bleeder makes everything, called power bleeder, air bleeder, makes everything so simple. You just crack it open, push it, you just watch the air suck through, let off, push it again. It's one of the best inventions ever. If you don't have one and you have an air compressor, get one.